From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBICD, PrimeTime Capper, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. And man, oh man, today should be a great day. So much going on in the sports world today as well, too. We have ourselves breaking news right now. Jimmy G has officially signed with the Raiders, and pretty much you guys already know what time it is. You guys know that I told you for the last month or so that the Raiders will most likely get Jimmy G because Aaron Rodgers was a dream. You're not going to go ahead and get off of a quarterback that you're already paying $40 million to a year to get on another quarterback that you pay $40 million a year to. And then also, Aaron Rodgers was just bluffing because, he doesn't want to be a part of that type of organization. So Jimmy G has agreed to terms with the Raiders. I don't have the numbers on it yet, but they have agreed to terms. Jimmy G didn't want to take too much time. He knew where he was wanted at, and that was with the Raiders. Now, this puts Josh McDaniels on the absolute front and center, to be honest. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, this is not the smartest move because you're getting somebody who's probably on the decline of their career, even though he is a great game manager and all that good stuff. And he did lead the San Francisco 49ers to pretty much their record for most of the season and everything like that. He's the one that got the groove going for them, that set it up for Purdy. So, Jimmy G did take the San Francisco 49ers to the Super Bowl. He won a Super Bowl as a backup with the Patriots. He went to several Super Bowls, to be exact, with the Patriots before he was traded. And there's just a lot of things that go into the Jimmy G effect. A lot of people were really excited about Jimmy G when he got to San Francisco. They thought that this would be the changing of the culture in a sense to where they would be able to get themselves some world championships and stuff like that. They got to one, and they almost got to another last year, but they fell short to the Rams. But we all know why they kind of fell short to the Rams. The Rams kind of had that thing. I would say might have had their checkbook out a little bit for this for that Super Bowl that they won. But Jimmy G has shown that he's a winner in this league, and he shows that he can go ahead and take care of business, but he can only take you so far at the end of the day. You're going to have a really good defense to make him look really good, and that's something that the Raiders don't have. You're going to have a really good running game. That's something that the Raiders do have. You're going to have some really good receivers. That's something that the Raiders slightly have in Devontae Adams. You don't know what the future holds for the others like Waller and also for Hunter Renfrow as well, too. So there's just a lot of things that you look at and you tell yourself, this is going to be something that we're going to have to really look at and hope that everything works out in the right way, And I think I'll have more to talk about because it's still breaking news tomorrow. But I think that Jimmy G signing is a bit of a reach. It's a bit of a force in a sense because you want to make sure that you have the security having a stable quarterback, somebody that's ready to go. And pretty much you are saying to yourself that we're all right with the idea of not drafting a quarterback at number 7. Okay, because I don't think that the Raiders are going to get the guy that they truly want at number 7, to be honest with you. I think what happens here is since you have Carolina moving up to the first pick in the draft, since you have Carolina moving up to the first pick in the draft, you have yourself a very, crazy, peculiar situation. But all in all, though, you just have things that you do have to work out, and you have to try to put things in perspective as well. So It's just, we have to make sure that you're working things in the right angles, and I just think that when it comes down to it, they're not working themselves in the right angles, the Raiders. But I felt all this coming with the Raiders, man. It's like it's no surprise to me that they did this, because at the end of the day, that's what the Raiders do. They make very impulsive moves because they're always making some type of mistake. And I think that the fan base is really tired of it at the end of the day, but they just deal with it. So, I would say that this was a C grade all in all, if you ask me, because I think that you're forcing the situation. So it is what it is at the end of the day. But Jimmy G and the Raiders have came together, and I would say this: Josh McDaniels has to be held accountable for this. Jimmy G has to be successful. Everything has to go right for the fan base to still have trust in this guy. You're kind of downgrading right now because Derek Carr, it was your leader. He's a guy that already was very popular in the locker room as is, and now you're bringing in Jimmy G from a rival team as well too. You know what I mean? I don't know how much is this going to work because the Raiders culture isn't like San Francisco's culture, is not like New England's culture. This is more of a rough around the edges type situation. So I hope Jimmy G's ready for it. That's my biggest thing. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward. Let's talk about exactly what I was just talking about, the draft and what the Bears did that was so significant. The Bears traded the number 1 pick to the Panthers for a huge haul that included DJ Moore and the number 9 pick and the number 61 pick as well too for this year's draft. And I think they got another first rounder for next year as well too. And who will the Panthers select at number 1? Now, when I look at it, they said that the Panthers owner is in love with CJ Stroud. They said that the coach likes him. Now, the coach doesn't really have that much of a choice because at the end of the day, it's really who the owner wants to cut a check to. So, yeah, everybody says if the owner is the one making the decisions, then it's probably going to be a decision that's not going to work out. But I would say this, I would think that he wants to just get it over with and let them know that I don't want you guys going back and forth about this thing. I want this guy as my quarterback. I want this guy as the face of the franchise. And at the end of the day, the owner overrides everybody. It doesn't matter how great of a football mind you are and all that good stuff, because at the end of the day, if you don't want to do what the owners asked you to do, then you can go ahead and remove yourself from the situation and they'll find somebody else that can. And I know that they hired these people to do a job and beat football people and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, the owner has the final say because the owner's the one that cuts the checks for everybody. So if the owner says that he wants CJ Stroud, then he is going to get CJ Stroud. It doesn't matter what their GM is talking about and what their coach is talking about. Their coach is almost like a guy that really knows that it don't matter what he wants to do. It's going to be whatever they want to do because literally he's a guy that should not already be a head coach again in the NFL because there was a big – come on, he got fired mid-season. I haven't seen a coach get fired mid-season. Well, let me take that back. Rivera got fired mid-season, but he went to the Super Bowl. That's different. So, I get it. You want to make sure that you get your guy. But Carolina might be bluffing all of us and might be saying, you know what, we just moved up so we can make sure we get Jalen Carter. So I think all in all, Carolina should have stayed pat because what do they truly need at the end of the day when it comes to the quarterback position? They need a guy that's just waiting in the wings because I thought Sam Darnold did a hell of a job there when he did come back. They were a much better team. Run the record on how they were with their previous quarterbacks during the season. They run the record when Sam Darnold was there. Sam Darnold, I think, had a winning record, and Sam Darnold almost won the division. So what's the problem? I would say that Max Dugan or Stetson Bennett or one of those guys would be good for the Panthers moving forward because they don't do a good job making quarterbacks anyway. The only quarterback success they had for drafting in the first round was Cam Newton. That's because Cam Newton was so talented. Other was Chris Winkie, who was a 29-year-old retread who just failed in baseball and thought that he could do something in football. Huh. Usually that doesn't work. But at the end of the day, this is a draft that is forced to pick a quarterback at the top. It doesn't matter because there's 6 teams that need a starting quarterback immediately, and they want to make it the face of the franchise. They want to be cheap because this is the new trend. Get cheap on the quarterback positions with a rookie. So literally, let's go ahead and give the keys to the car to the kid. That's what the new mentality is, somewhat, for the penny pinching media folks that want to, interject their thoughts to every financial move that the NFL makes. So it is what it is at the end of the day. It should be a fun draft, but I truly do think that Carolina did a little bit too much jumping up to the front because what are they going to develop down there? Are they really looking to win football games, or are they just trying to have a quarterback there so they can appease the fan base? We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. All right, let's go ahead and jump into March Madness, which was so significant yesterday. And what happens with March Madness is this. March Madness, did the committee get it right? What smaller schools make a run? All right, so when we look at the tournament right now, you have a lot of good things going on with the tournament right now. You have a lot of really, really bad things going on with the tournament as well, too. I feel like the matchups, in a sense, they kind of made matchups to where, okay, are we trying to sell stuff for TV, or are we just trying to make matchups for just because we feel like these teams are really even? Like Boise State, Northwestern, that's already like, wow, you guys really don't want to get any ratings for that game. It would be awesome if you had Boise State playing, say, somebody like Duke, and then you had somebody like, I don't know, like somebody like Memphis playing Northwestern. Those games are unique, you know what I mean? But when you got two schools that that are never really in this tournament playing each other, it's always like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of fun things going on with the tournament, but there's a lot of things that the tournament needs to clean up. And I think that you don't leave out North Carolina. I'm sorry, you just don't. And I know that they lost to Pitt and everything like that, and they felt some type of an obligation to get Pitt in there, but Pitt beat North Carolina by 1 point. They swept them. And that's the biggest reason why Pitt got in here. See, North Carolina, that's a superior just fell. Because we know at the end of the day, if North Carolina splits with Pitt, Pitt's not in here. So North Carolina literally got taken out the tournament to appease a position. And so Pitt's going to play Mississippi State. These are two teams that are really irrelevant because at the end of the day, they're not going to get past whatever game that they have to play at the end of the day. Pittsburgh would line it up. They're in the Midwest. Pittsburgh would line it up with who? They would line it up on a Friday. And I would say that, it would be just it would just be a very, very formful day. Think about it, and I truly do think that when you get down to the nitty gritty of it, that you have a team that you say, oh yeah, they deserve to be there. But to me, they don't. You know what I mean? It's just because the politics of them getting it right. Because if they would have left Pitt out, it would have been a big whatever. But Pitt and Mississippi State did not play against the same teams that North Carolina played against. And they didn't beat the same teams. But North Carolina could have took care of their business. It's that simple. You know what I mean? North Carolina can't get any excuses because they had an opportunity to take care of their business, and they did not. So, when I'm looking at all this stuff, I say to myself, what team that's a smaller school can make a run? That's Oral Roberts, man. They're 30-4. This team hasn't lost in I don't know how long. This team hasn't lost since January 9th, and they lost to New Mexico, who at the time was one of the better teams in the nation, if not having one of the better records. So this team has lost one game since that point. Okay, they've lost 4 games. and they lost 3 of their games. They've lost 1 game in 2023. Okay, and this team absolutely crushed their tournament as well. They had a little bit of a issue with St. Thomas, but everybody else they absolutely crushed. And this team scored 90 over 90 points twice in their tournament as well too. And this team is high power, high energy. They got a 7'5" center as well too. So this team presents a lot of issues for everybody. And yes, they match up with Duke, but Duke's a young team that won an easy tournament. I told everybody it's either going to be Duke or North Carolina winning the ACC. It didn't matter who the ACC felt was going to be stepping out this year. It wasn't going to happen. The ACC, since being expanded and everything's getting to the point, then it's just hey, it is what it is at the end of the day. It's going to turn back into a Carolina Duke thing, and everybody else is just kind of there. All those Big East teams, they were a little bit, they had a little bit of run in the beginning, but since you're not recruiting in the Big East anymore, the recruiting's not the same, and you're not hiring these high-end coaches anymore. You're hiring a lot of assistants now. Guys that have been assistants for 20, 30 years now, taking over as head coaches here in the ACC. It's just whatever. So that's what you're going to get in a conference that literally has kind of a competition problem. You wish that you could kind of trade half of the ACC out for half of the for a bit of the SEC and a bit of the Big Ten. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. ACC, was so bad. That's why Clemson and North Carolina missed out on this tournament this year. Pac-12 being so bad this year opened up the doors for the Mountain West that usually gets maybe 2 or 3. They got in 4 this year. And then you had the automatic 2 come out of the West Coast Conference. There could have been a little bit of controversy if you had a better Pac-12, but you didn't. So there's just a lot of things that say to me that this tournament is really heavy on a lot of really great teams. And people have to understand this is the most unpredictable tournament I've ever seen in my life. Okay, you just can't say Houston's going to be the national champion. You just can't say Kansas is going to be the national champion. You can't just say UCLA is going to be the national champion. There's so many options that you have here. Alabama is a team that presents a major value, in my opinion, because they may have the easiest bracket out of all the 1 seeds that we see. And they might have the biggest motivation by the controversy that's being okay, sorry guys. They might. Okay. All right. Give me 1 second, y'all. All right. So, there's just a lot of things that play into it. When I look at all the regions that I'm going to break down tomorrow, because, I'm going to spend more time on it. When I look at the regions, you say to yourself, the South is the easiest and the West is the hardest. And then the Midwest and the East are just kind of like, there's a lot of unpredictability in that. And I'm going to give you guys a team that nobody's talking about right now, but they're going to start talking about them. Marquette could be the biggest spoiler of them all. They are probably the most unpopular. They're probably the most unlikely 2 seed this year, but easily they could have been a 1 seed with the collapse of pretty much all the top 5 teams over the weekend. 3 out of 5 of the top 5 teams lost this weekend, okay? Houston lost, UCLA lost, Kansas lost. So what it did was it set up Purdue to be a 1 seed, which they didn't deserve. So, we got a lot of things that just have to play themselves out. But, we have probably one of these matchups that you say to yourself, they were playing favorites with this one, Arkansas, Illinois. Arkansas, Illinois play great basketball, but they, to me, didn't play good enough to be in the tournament. They were just ranked early in the season, and they got some good wins on their resume. But I still think that these teams are very big underachievers, and they're going to be a team, regardless of anything, they're going to be a team that a lot of people are going to be really excited about moving into the next round because they're in the West, and Kansas would be the team that they would play, you know, in the next round because if everything holds up, because they will be playing Howard. But all in all, I would say Illinois Arkansas does present a team that will be an overbet, but they'll wind up losing you money, in my opinion. And then you have Auburn and Iowa, and is absolutely nuts to me because I really felt like Iowa didn't belong in the tournament this year. But Iowa always gets good wins at home, so it is what it is. So when you look at that one, you have the Midwest. So that's Houston, and Houston is going to get challenged. They're definitely going to get challenged. And I would say Auburn's going to be that team. So tomorrow I'm going to do a total breakdown of the Midwest, the South region, and the Midwest region tomorrow. Then we'll go West East on Wednesday. So make sure you tune in because I'm going to break down all these games for you guys and give you my winners of those games as well too. So you guys just be ready, and I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited too. So we'll see how it goes and see how it shakes out. Let's go ahead and get into 30 teams in 30 days real quick. And with 30 teams in 30 days, we have ourselves we got UCLA. All right, so we got the Bruins. The Bruins, let's talk about it. We won't talk about it for long. UCLA loses the Pac-12 tourney in dramatic fashion. They have to settle for a 2 seed in the toughest bracket. So pretty much here we are. There is a lot of eyes on UCLA now. UCLA probably did. A lot of people said that UCLA would be a 2 seed because Jalen Clark got hurt, even if they won, blah, 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 blah. I've never seen them make a team a 2 seed because one of their players got hurt. They always look at the resume of what the team is doing. Get that NBA ideology out of here. Like, seriously, this is not the NBA, and we don't focus in on one player in college basketball. It just doesn't happen. You don't have guys in college basketball averaging 32 points a game as your top scorer. Most times your top scorer is like a 17-point scorer a game. And Jalen Clark was not their top scorer, and Jalen Clark wasn't even their third top scorer. So, like, what are we talking about right now? Jalen Clark plays great defense, but the team plays great defense as a whole. That just goes to show you that you're not watching UCLA and you don't understand exactly how great this team is. This team is led by 2 senior leaders in Jaime and Tiger. When you have those 2 guys, those things can set them apart immensely. So, we got to cut the NBA talk with college basketball right now because college basketball is a team sport. It is not an individual sport. If you can see, they don't highlight players like that anymore. They don't do the whole Kevin Durant, Derrick Rose, Mike Beasley cover. We only talk about this one player, but forget your team. No, they don't do that anymore. They got 4 or 5 guys they'll talk about on a team. And usually now they highlight who the coach is. So the coach is an absolute rock star, Mick Cronin. So UCLA should have motivation. They got Asheville to start the tourney off. Asheville is no slouch either. And then they're playing in a bracket that's very winnable for them. But at the end of the day, they're going to have to fight. They're going to have to scrape, okay? It's not going to be anything easy. But they do get a little bit of a home court advantage starting things off in Sacramento. So that should be really good for them. And then they absolutely get some love, though, in my opinion, though, when they getting this Boise State Northwestern matchup above them. So, I'm talking to Ish about it, but they might have gave UCLA some love right there as well, too. But I know that's going to be a monster game if Northwestern gets there because this will be a preview of how it would look with a pact with the future Big Ten as well, too, Northwestern and UCLA. So that should be a lot of fun. And breaking news right now, the Chicago Bears have just signed Tremaine Edmonds, big-time linebacker for the Buffalo Bills, who's like 24 years old. So literally, like, he came to the NFL pretty young, and he's wound up they said that it was going to be tough to pay him at Buffalo, and he winds up getting his money. over in Chicago. So pretty much there it is. There it is. So we have ourselves another Bears of making splashes today. We got a lot of free agency going on today. So with that, we're going to talk more about the tournament tomorrow. UCLA, I'm not mad at you. I thought that, pretty much there was a lot of things that happened at the end of that game that was out of your control. And also, if you know me, you got to finish the game. UCLA was up 6-7 points there in the last final minutes of the game. They got to put their foot on their neck and close the game out. But Arizona was heady. Arizona didn't go anywhere, and Arizona wound up getting a 2-point win. That's how it be some days. So it is what it is, and we move forward from there. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break, and when I get back, we'll get into 30 teams in 30 days. I got a little bit more subjects than I thought I would. So pretty much you guys hold tight, and I'll be right back.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We have ourselves the Atlanta Braves, 30 teams in 30 days. The Atlanta Braves, the 3-time defending AL East champion, NL East champions, the 2021 world champions as well. You know what I mean? The Atlanta Braves. I think the Atlanta Braves are kind of going to take some steps back. They were 101-62 last year. This team lost Dansby Swanson, a very high key player for them. You know what I mean? Very, very adequate guy. Ronald Acuna should be very healthy this year in the leadoff spot. That should be pretty good. They got Matt Olson still as well. Another great power hitter, Austin Riley. Another really, really significant power hitter. So they got 3 guys at the top that they have projected to 100 RBIs or better. So they might have a real killer's row when it comes to the top of the lineup. Then they have Ozzie Albies, who's an excellent player. I thought Albies is really, 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 to me, an awesome player to have. And I don't know why they have him in the 6 hole. Usually he's a guy that you have up top. I'm thinking that this is just projection. But most days I would think that he would probably be in that 2 hole or in the leadoff like he was prior to that. So, that should be pretty good. And he looks like a guy that's going to be very adequate for him. But this is going to be a high strikeout team next year as well, too. But it looks like that they're going to be trying to work some walks. Eddie Rosario is still there. But I would say that Eddie Rosario will still be a platoon player. I know he had a great run in the World Series a few years back, but I think that he is more of a platoon player because when you look at it, he's projected to have 47 runs. So that means that he's not going to play in every game. And he only has 386 at-bats that they have him up here for. But they're saying he's probably going to be the primary guy. Now, the X factor with this team is going to be Vaughn Grissom, son of Marquise Grissom. If you guys remember Marquise Grissom, he was an excellent center fielder who played for the Expos, the Indians, and the Braves. I mean, the Expos, Braves, and Indians, because that's how the order went. But Marquise Grissom was a fun player to watch. He was always he was a 5-tool guy as well, too. He could hit for power. He could hit for average. He was always a fun player to watch. They did not talk about Marquise Grissom as much as they should have, but to me, he's a legend. So, Vaughn, if he can play anything like his father, then he can be the X factor on this team. Osuna at DH, that should be good for them as well too. He'll probably be alternating a little bit with Rosario, and then Michael Harris is a guy that you get a little excited about, but you got to see what he's really all about this year as well too. But he's seen as one of the guys who can have the highest batting average on the team from what it's projected. Him and Austin Riley at 273. So this should be a good team this year, a very good team, but the injury bug always seems to bother the Atlanta Braves, and I think that the injury bug will be an issue this year. And I don't know if their same motivation is there after winning a World Series a few years back, because that's what they really were built up for, was to win a World Series, and they've already done it. And they let Freddie Freeman walk, and that's why I said that. Are they really worried about winning championships or just fielding good teams? Because you look at it, Max Fried, Fried, great pitcher. Looks like he could be a possible Cy Young candidate as well this year. Kyle Wright is not healthy right now, but when he does get healthy, it should be something that gets them very excited. Charlie Morton, the good old vet. He's good, but Charlie is getting up there in age as well too. Then you got Spencer Strider, a guy who was really good when they won the World Series, and Ian Anderson, who's a guy that he hopefully can stay consistent this year. But the pitching staff actually looks good because everybody's up under 4 on the ERA. Everybody's at a 3 ERA except for Ian Anderson on the projected. And then you do have a lot of strikeouts in this group as well too, led by Spencer Strider. So, they're saying that this is going to be a high volume strikeout group and things of that nature. And they're not going to walk a lot of guys either. So the Braves are in good position, but at the end of the day, they're going to have everything working in the right accord, in my opinion. So we'll see. But I do have this team actually going under 95.5 games this year. I think that, they win a lot of games, but they're going to wind up only getting to 95.5. I don't see a lot of 100-win winners in the MLB this year. We had, I think, 5 last year, and only one of them made it to the World Series. So I would say that winning 100 games is kind of getting overrated, because you might want to give some of those wins back, to make sure that you can get those wins in the playoffs. I don't know. So it is what it is at the end of the day. So pretty much that's where it's at, and that's where it's going to be. Give me 1 second. All right, so don't act like so. Sorry, guys, I'm back. Which call I had to put the mic on mute real quick. So there it is, under 95.5 with the Braves this year, and I think that should be a good play because I know a lot of people probably will not go in that angle that way, but hey, it is what it is. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump into the next state of the Lakers. Lakers last night wound up losing by 4 points, 112-108 to a very game New York team. New York had revenge on their mind. The Lakers did beat them a few months back, same fashion in a sense as well too. So, it's just a get back game. At the end of the day, it's a get back game. So that's what happens in get back games, that you got teams that just can't get over the hump. But it is what it is, and it's okay. It's all right. It's okay. So pretty much we have a team in the Lakers that are in position. They're still in the play-in, okay? And that's where we want the Lakers at. We want the Lakers in the playoffs, man. They're in the playoffs if the playoffs start today, right? But they would have to play in that playoff spot. They would have to play Minnesota. And Dallas is a team that's struggling as well too. The Lakers find themselves only a game behind them. The Lakers are in good shape. They're only 2 games out of the 6-hole, okay? And the Warriors are, and then you always look at the Warriors schedule. Are they on the road yet? You know what I mean? Because the Warriors are about to play 5 games on the road. So that works out pretty good for the Lakers. And they got Phoenix tonight. Phoenix has absolutely owned the Warriors this year. So that's what the Lakers have to look at tonight and say to themselves, hopefully the teams above them lose. But they can't worry about what those teams do. The Lakers got to keep winning games on their side. That's where the Lakers are going to get to the playoffs at. You know what I mean? They just got to keep winning games on their side. Now, let's look at the Lakers schedule for this week, okay? The Lakers schedule for this week is going to be a little different because what happens is the Lakers are on the road most of this week. The Lakers have back-to-backs, one in New Orleans, one in Houston. These games are very vital because New Orleans is still in the mix, and this is a very important game for both teams. Lakers don't want to find themselves out of that spot. Even though New Orleans, is struggling right now, it does not matter. It seems like they always step up their game when they play the Lakers. Then the next night, they should have a game where they can absolutely crush with Houston. So the Lakers really do need to win both of those games, but they may split both of those games. Then things get a little tricky over the weekend because the Lakers have a 5-game homestand coming up starting on Friday. And the first team that they get is going to be Dallas. And then they get Orlando Sunday. And then they have Phoenix. And then they have Oklahoma City. And then they have a weird back-to-back with Chicago. They play Chicago on a Sunday. Then they fly back to Chicago and play them on a Wednesday. So they play Chicago in a back-to-back situation with same team back-to-back situation. And then in the month in Minnesota. So these next games are going to be very crucial for the Lakers moving forward. They got 9 games left in the month, okay? I would say that the Lakers need to finish at least 6-3. There it is, 6-3. Now I'm looking at the schedule now. I'm looking at this now. New Orleans should be a win. Houston should be a win. Dallas, we don't know. But Dallas could possibly be a win as well, too. But if Dallas winds up being a loss, you're 2-1. Orlando, you need to win. Phoenix, this is kind of a split bag, but that's one that you truly do need to win. So you can throw that one out there. But then when I call out these next 4 in a row, Oklahoma City has to be a win. Chicago back-to-back has to be a win. And definitely Minnesota has to be a win. But Phoenix and Dallas, those are 2 games that you say to yourself, these are going to be a little tricky. These are going to be a little hard. And New Orleans is going to be one that's going to be a gut check. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. The Lakers, all in all, they're chasing the playoffs. But let's give props to the Knicks. The Knicks had a great game last night. They deserve to win because they play hard basketball throughout. The Knicks are the 6th seed right now and got their 40th win last night as well, too. I think that's the first time they've had 40 wins in some time now as well. And, they are now 4-3 for the month of March as well. And they ended a 3-game losing streak as well last night. They lost to Sacramento. They lost to the Clippers. Both those games were really intense. And then they lost to Charlotte last week at home as well, too. So they just wanted to get the bad taste of losing out of their mouth. And the Lakers just wound up being the Lakers tonight. You know what I mean? Instead of being Portland Tuesday, the Lakers were the ones that caught it because the Lakers are on such a high and feeling so good about themselves. I just knew that they weren't going to win that game last night. I just knew it. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. And we move forward from there. Let's go ahead and jump into our next game, and that's our game for NBA Monday night. Up first, we got the Wolves and the Hawks. The Wolves are, like I said, the 7th seed right now, and they are 34-34 on the season, while you have Atlanta coming into the game 34-34. They are the 8th seed in the West right now, but they are number 2 in the Southeast behind the Heat by a game and a half. So they still have an opportunity to win a division title as well, too. So they got a lot to play for tonight. Minnesota has a lot to play for as well, too, because they're only a game behind the Warriors as well. So they're hoping the Warriors lose tonight so then they can jump back into that 6-0, because the Warriors in Minnesota have been playing leapfrog with each other. Clippers have been playing leapfrog a little bit as well too. Like Dallas, this combination of 4, Clippers, Golden State, Minnesota, Dallas, have all flipped positions. Like one day you saw Dallas is a 5, Golden State's been the 5, Minnesota's been the 5, the Clippers are the 5 right now. And vice versa. They've all been in these different spots over the last month. So it's kind of a fun situation that nobody's talking about right now between those 4 teams. They're only a game and a half behind each other. You got Golden State a half a game behind the Clippers. The Clippers, Minnesota and Dallas, both a game behind the Warriors. So it's insane right now. So it is what it is. But you got a Minnesota team 2-2 this month. You have a Hawks team that's coming in here playing pretty good basketball. They're 3-3 this month. So you got 2 teams that are even right now. So I just truly feel like what happens here is that the Hawks have way too much for them tonight, because the Hawks really have to win this game. Minnesota can breathe a little bit because they're kind of in a good spot, but they don't want to let up either. So this is a toughie. And sometimes when it's a tough one and you have a home team in place that really needs it, that home team plays above and beyond, and it's a Monday night. So I like the Hawks with the -5.5. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our next game. That's going to be the Grizzlies and the Mavericks. This game is very, very vital for both of these teams, because you have a Grizzlies team that's trying to hold on to that 2nd seed, and then you have the Mavericks, as I said before, trying to find a way to get out of the play-in. So the Grizzlies are still dealing with no Ja Morant at the moment. Ja Morant is out. You have the Grizzlies 3-3 this month. And they just ended a 3-game losing streak, which was good for them because they needed it, because they went on the road again and lost 3 out of 4 and lost to all playoff teams as well. But they bounced back, had 2 home games in a row, wound up beating Golden State by 21, then came back around and beat Dallas by 4. Now they have the second of a back-to-back, which is on the road in Dallas. So they're just looking to go ahead and keep things rolling a little bit here on this streak after winning 2 games in a row. And, Dallas have not seen each other other than the other night for a while. So, these 2 teams are just looking to, get things right, because at the end of the day, the Mavericks do own the season series right now. They've won 2 out of the 3 games. So they're trying to win this series, because this could be kind of key here at the end of the year with this kind of fall off of the Grizzlies, to where the Mavericks can win the Southwest. So, the Dallas is looking to try to win this game tonight. Well, you're trying to look to win a game every night. But all in all, though, Dallas is going to come in here ready to roll tonight. And then you have the Grizzlies, they are kind of, life without Ja right now. That's what they're doing. So that's what they on. But you have Dallas, they're 2-3 this month. And I think that Dallas is really in a make or break situation, because they really got to make sure that Kyrie gets on the same page as the team. Because honestly, Kyrie's a great player, but Kyrie can kill this thing as well, too. You know what I mean? And it's really dependent on Kyrie coming back to this team. So I like the over 224.5. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it checks out. We move forward from there. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the Jazz and the Heat. The Jazz and the Heat is a peculiar matchup, because once again, this is another team that needs to win tonight. And then the Heat, they're another team that needs to win tonight. So both these teams we're in a playoff situation. All these games that I'm reviewing tonight, everybody has a good record. The 2 games that aren't on this group are between 2 teams that are 2 of the teams involved in those games are going to be drafting in the top 3. So, we don't need to sit here and talk about the Pistons and Rockets and what they're going to do against the Pacers and what they're going to do against the Celtics. You know what I mean? So all in all, because it has nothing to do with going to the playoffs. So pretty much you have a Jazz team 33-35. Them and the Lakers are tied, literally. Then, as I said before, you have a 7 seed in the Heat, and they're 36-33. So pretty much what I see here is a game that's going to wind up being over bet for the Heat, because everybody has this idea that the Jazz are kind of, falling apart in a sense, but the Jazz are still trying to win. They're still playing. They're still trying. You know what I mean? And they still have a chance to make the playoffs. And, they like to make the playoffs because their fans like to show up for games. So they lost their first 3 of the month, and then they've won the last 2 in a row. But it was Orlando and Charlotte. So tonight they got to go ahead and try to finish up this 6-game road trip even, because they lost the first 3, and now they're trying, and now won the last 2. Now they got to go ahead and try to right this whole thing by beating Miami, because they have a 4-game homestand against 4 very tough teams: Celtics, Kings, Portland, Milwaukee, all in that order, all coming up next week. So that's going to be really tough for them, because they're going to get a whole week off this week after they get done with this road trip as well, too. So they're getting some favors from the NBA right now. So they got 8 games left to get. They got 9 games left to go this month as well, too, just like the Lakers. And they have 5 of them at home and 4 of them on the road. So it's going to be a little fun here, but this 4-game homestand is probably going to be their season as well, too. Let's keep it real, because those games are tough. You look at their next 7 games, their next 7 games are going to 8. Their next 8 out of 9 games, all playoff teams. All playoff teams are all teams in playoff contention. So, hey, we'll see how it goes. But all in all, the Heat coming here, they're ready to keep things rolling and keep things going in the right direction. They right now are 3-4 this month, so they're trying to get this thing right, even though they kind of struggled on this last homestand that they had as well too, because they went 3-3 on the homestand. Then they lose to Orlando Saturday night. Now they come back for 2 more at home. And this is a must-win situation for them, because they're starting to kind of tail off a little bit. You don't want to tail off like that. But I like the Jazz a lot with the +8. So let's go ahead, see how it goes, see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, we have ourselves the Suns and the Warriors tonight. Suns and Warriors coming into this one, very, very heated rivals, Suns have had their way with the Warriors this season and last season as well too. So, nothing new there, nothing new, nothing to see here, because they have absolutely been wrecking this team all season long. They beat them last time they played. They beat them by 12. Before, when they played them in Phoenix, they beat them by 11. They played them early in the season in Phoenix. They beat them by 20. They beat them by 29 that day. So, they've beaten them by double digits all season long. And once again, coming here as a 4.5-point dog tonight. Like, what are we doing here, lines makers? Like, I understand that you guys are probably trying to factor in that KD's not playing tonight, blah, 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 blah. But KD didn't play in the first 3 games against the Warriors either with the Suns. So what's the point of doing that tonight? And you know that the Suns really play up to the Warriors. It's just that simple. So tonight, really, I'm gonna just keep it real with y'all. I love the Suns in this spot. They've won their first 4 out of 5 games. Yeah, they lost by 9 to Sacramento on Saturday, but they've been taking care of their business to solidify their playoff spot as well too. The Golden State Warriors have not. So I just really feel like the Warriors night in, night out can be beat. And tonight's one of those nights they get beat, because I don't see them as a good favorite tonight. They're a bad favorite. They're 0-3 against the Suns this year. And I think, honestly, they probably have lost the last 7 out of 7 in a row to them as well. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But the Warriors have not been good against the Suns, so why would I take them? Let me go ahead and take the Suns tonight with the +165 money line as my dog of the day. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. And the Warriors for this month right now, they are 3-3, and they just came off of losing 3 in a row before snapping that against the Milwaukee Bucks. And guess where they were at for those 3 losses? The road. So just know they're going to be back on the road come Wednesday. So pretty much they'll be on the road until for the next week. So get ready. Get ready because the Warriors may lose the season right now. Seriously, 5 road games for the Warriors is dangerous right now because that's how bad they are on the road. And then, peep this, they finish up April with 3 out of 4 of their games being on the road. All right, so there it is. There it is. So we're taking the dog of the day right here. All right, so let's go ahead and get into our final game. That's going to be the Bucks and the Kings. Bucks and Kings is a really good game tonight. There's a lot going on here. You got right now 2 of the better teams in the NBA. They met up earlier in Milwaukee. Milwaukee won that game in very convincing fashion as well too. Sacramento, though, has played some of the best basketball in the NBA over the last 2 months. They sustained. I kept saying that they'll fall apart after the All-Star break. They didn't listen to me. So they've sustained that position. They've actually went ahead and won their last 8 out of 9 games as well, too. So that's pretty good. 8 out of 10 to be exact. They've also got themselves some pretty good wins here in the last few games. They beat Phoenix. They also had a good win against New York, also was able to take care of their business against New Orleans, and they had a great win over the Clippers as well, too, again, because it seems like they just got the Clippers number right now. They keep beating the Clippers by 1 point, man. I was like, I know the irony for the Clippers right now is just so much, dude. Like, damn, can we get a break with these guys? Because we keep losing by 1 point to them. It's just sad. At the end of the day, that you keep losing by 1 point to Sacramento, like so close, but no cigar. So, it is what it is at the end of the day, but they'll see each other again. No, they won't, actually. I think that the Kings actually swept the Clippers this year. I'm trying to see exactly what they did with them because I'm seeing that they won every game against them this year, it looks like. And am I right? No, they actually won 3 out of 4 against the Clippers. So yeah, they have that. But the Bucks coming in here ready to roll tonight. You know what I mean? And this is a really good game. I think defense is going to be an absolute premium tonight. So I'm taking the under 244.5 here. All right. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. And we move forward from there because I got to jump on Talkin Tickets. So with Talkin Tickets, let's go ahead and get into it. Talkin Tickets, NBA Super High 5. We got a 34-1 with the Hawks 5.5 tonight. Also the over 24.5 with the Grizzlies and the Mavs. The +8 with the Jazz. The under 244.5 with the Bucks and the Kings. And the Suns money line with the +165. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. It should be a great game for them tonight. So we'll see how this one plays out, man. And there it is. This should be a good ticket. It was 34-1. I feel good about it. Hope you feel good about it. I'll be back tomorrow to talk a lot of college basketball as well, too, with you guys. I can't wait because we're going to break these games down to the very last compound, and you guys will be excited. So remember, we're doing Midwest, South tomorrow, and we're doing East, West on Wednesday for the regions. All right. So you guys make sure to tune in for that and let the CBB guru get you right with your tourney brackies and things like that. And we'll just go from there, man, because I know everybody wants to get their bracket in by Thursday, but, we got other games that we got to play as well, too, before the tournament. I hate that now. I don't like having every single game on Tuesday and having these little playing games on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. If you just weren't good enough to make it, you weren't good enough to make it. I don't like the playing idea. You know what I mean? See me on Thursday when we can go ahead and get this thing on. You know what I mean? That's how I like it, So we'll see how it goes. 34-1 ticket tonight, though. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, and we will go from there. So as I always like to say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving, and I'll be back to you tomorrow. We're talking college basketball a lot tomorrow, so be ready for that. For that, it's probably going to be a very long show, so be ready for that portion as well too. And we will be getting into 30 teams in 30 days as well. So you guys be ready to talk a little bit about the Miami Marlins tomorrow as well. So that should be a lot of fun. So I look forward to it. And this is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Kappa, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.